Thank you for listening to Pow Block Podcast, the flagship Nintendo podcast of Boss Rush Network. Do you need even more gaming and entertainment in your life? Head over to bossrush.net where you can find news, reviews, creators, podcasts, and more focused around the content you enjoy.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Nintendo Pow Block here on Boss Rush Network. I'm your host, the enlightened, excited Eddie V. Joining me for the special edition, he's the helpful Hawkeye of hockey, the Jack Bro. Hi Jack.
Hey everybody, how's it going, Ed?
It is going good. Everybody, we are doing a mini block. So, and everybody knows that we come with 3 topics and, we just keep it like really fun and light. And I brought Jack here because we're going to be talking about some stories that we missed about Nintendo and some of the things surrounding them. We're going to be talking about a game that we actually look forward in 2021 when we heard the announcement. And then we're going to talk about what the 3 companies did for the gaming industry in 2021. So, Jack, are you ready?
I am ready.
But before we go there, everybody, Jack is part of the Boss Rush writing team. Me and him wrote together for our guide or our opinions about the Nintendo expansion pass for the Nintendo Switch. So guys, go read that. Jack, did you got any news stories, anything coming out, or just?
No, this month has been a bit of a struggle for me. I've got some ideas. I'll be heading them out after the holiday and such. You know, I got 2 little kids, so the holiday time has been hectic, but I should have some downtime afterwards. So,
okay. Well, we're gonna get into our first story that I was kind of surprised about this one. It says Sony's Censors strike as Switch gets 20 ladies while PS4 gets 20 buttons. And I'm going to explain this one. One of the 3 most misplaced items in everyday life. You might be thinking keys, wallets, and a television remote, but you're forgetting the one thing we're always losing: ladies. Every time we're about to leave the house, we can never remember where we last put our ladies. Are they down the back of our sofa in a washing machine? If only there were some way we could keep track of our ladies. It's a joke, everybody. East Asia Soft, a company whose games include Waifu Uncovered and Hentai vs. Evil, have just shown off their latest take on the girls wearing uncomfortable tight underwear genre 20 Ladies, in which you complete simple forming puzzles to gather up all of our lost ladies. Also, the ladies are naked. For some reason, maybe all of their trousers were shredded by the spinny spike traps that litter the level. Poor ladies. The trailer is age restricted because the ladies aren't wearing much, so we can't actually embed it on Nintendo Life. That's where I'm reading the story, everybody. But the best part of this game is just the conference. Now, Nintendo Life, they rarely dip their toes into the console wars because they are adults and owners of multiple consoles and friends with all the pure Xbox and push square writers. But they couldn't help quite amusing that Nintendo gets ladies while the PS4 and PS5 get bunnies. Yes, PlayStation players, the scantily clad classes of 20 ladies have been placed with anthropomorphic, fully clothed rabbit women, thanks to Sony's strict rules on sexual content. And I was just like, wait a minute, there's bare naked ladies. And we knew back in the past that Sony they censor a lot of games that are featuring a lot of clad women, kind of like, sexy women and stuff. And Nintendo's just like, no, this is the game that you made. You can put it on. As long as it doesn't have an AO rating, you're fine. But what did you think? And the reason why I brought this story is because back in the day, even the PlayStation 2 days, like, you look at God of War and you look like Kratos. Right, Kratos, the two brand they have like boobs is showing, and now they're just like, oh no, you got to cover things up and stuff. Like, what did you think about this?
Well, I also remember there was this game, like a bike game. I think it was called BMX Triple X, and that
Yes.
that came out on GameCube, PS2, and Xbox. And GameCube and Xbox were uncensored, I believe, but PlayStation was censored. And that was like the start of seeing a bit of a change and, Nintendo's appeal to try to get more of an audience.
Hmm.
So it goes back even 20 years ago, which is definitely interesting. But it also does seem to contradict what Sony's stance is on other things, because of their major support for mature games, like you said, like God of War, but also even third-party games. So definitely comes as a shock that they would make that decision.
Yeah, I, I, I'm stuttering because I'm amused by this because
Yeah.
we talked about Nintendo being a family friendly system and everything, and it's just like, well, yes, that is their image because this is the games that Nintendo put out, but they have a mature side to them, and for a lot of people, you wouldn't recognize their mature side by knowing that they produce Eternal Darkness, that they went and got the exclusive of Bayonetta 2, and was just like, no, Platinum, do whatever you want to do. All we care about is the quality. And look how Bayonetta 2 has been as like part of the game and everything. It's kind of like Nintendo has been allowing developers to bring those mature titles over and not censoring them. Where Sony is just like, you would think that all the in-rated games that you as a first party have and you allow on your console, that nudity would be a problem.
Yeah. I think it'll be a much bigger shock if Nintendo actually makes a game with some adult content in it. Then I think it will have a whole new conversation going on there.
Right. And they're the ones that's like pushing like age restriction for parents so that kids don't know. But Sony's not doing that at all. Like if you look at some of even Nintendo's tweets, sometimes they talk about, you as a parent could do this on your app to control what your kids play.
Yeah, I remember that right when the Switch launched or right before, or maybe it was actually when they were launching the first Nintendo Switch Online. About it had Bowser and Bowser Jr. Going over all the different time restrictions and such. So yeah, but they make light of it. They make they try to educate gamers that are also parents as well. On some of the things that they may not have even entertained until now. And then parents such as myself that have to worry about screen time.
Yes. So, well, we're gonna move on to the next story. You might laugh at this one, Jack. The unhackable Wii Mini has been hacked.
Oh.
We remember the Nintendo Wii
Yeah.
Mini?
Yeah, the red and black one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It arrived on the market in 2012 after the original Wii had sold millions of units all over the world. With the shiny new Wii U hitting some store shelves around the same time, the intention was for the Wii Mini to provide a cut price at $99 for gamers on a budget. The problem was that in reducing the cost of the system, Nintendo had to take away many key features such as online connectivity and the ability to store and load data from an SD card. The removal of these two features has meant that hacking the Wii Mini has taken longer than expected, but in 2019, an exploit known as Blue Bomb was found. Now, it's possible to hack this seemingly unhackable system, and Modern Vintage Gamer has put together an excellent video showing exactly how you do it. There are a few hoops to jump through. Sorry about that. Understandable when you consider the console lacks any internet connection. But once complete, you got a neat little game box. Speaking of which, the video also looks at what you can do with a hack Wii Mini.
Nice.
So,
yeah, what type of hacks do they have running on it? Just old emulators, or do they have any custom software?
I guess it's just custom software. I guess it it allows you to like probably put other games on there. Probably allows like an SD card or something. I didn't get to watch the video. I just watched the just read the news story. So there is a video on YouTube about it. So
yeah, I'll have to check that out. It's just, those types of things really impress me. Especially, why is there a demand for something like this? The Wii it came out, like you said, 9 years ago.
Go ahead.
It just seems like these hackers just come up with a challenge and that's it. Whether or not anybody's going to utilize it, they just want to have the bragging rights to say that they figured it out. And that to me entertains me.
I was surprised because I didn't know that the Wii Mini was a system that people were trying to hack or trying to figure it out. Because it's just like it only play Wii games. There's no like. There's nothing to this. This is like $100 thing. Like I've never got to see it in stores. Like even when I was working at Toys R Us, it never came to our store.
Yeah, I saw it in a Target before, and at the time I was just like, why does this need to exist? But because it was actually ugly in my opinion.
It was.
The original Wii is so nice looking and so presentable that why would they change it up that much? But I guess they really went for that cost effective. $100 for somebody that's looking for just what the Wii does. That's a real easy impulse buy for certain people that were on the fence with it.
Yes, I definitely agree with you with that. I thought it was very weird because like we had a lot of Wiis and like you said, like the design of the Wii, just putting your white or black one in that little case and it has that little diagonal slide with the blue coming out. Like
it's great. It was fantastic.
Yes.
Especially going from the GameCube. I mean, I love the GameCube, but it kind of got picked on, by being like the little toy compared to the competition. And then for it to come out with that, it's like, oh, all right, Nintendo's learned a thing or two, with their design for their hardware.
But the funny thing with the GameCube that I loved, like it was just light, it was easy to pack and carry. Like you know, the Xbox, the original Xbox was like murder weapon.
It was like carrying around the cinder block. That thing is a tank.
Right, it did. I don't even know what PlayStation 2 original version. I like the PlayStation Slim of PS2, but man, the first PlayStation, I'm like, what is this? What is this? This is like a hidden thing, a component. I didn't know what the PlayStation 2 was. Like, I just couldn't. I did not understand that. I actually thought that something about Sony and Microsoft when it comes to video game console designs, they're terrible.
It seems like they hit or miss, like the joke about the PS3 being a George Foreman and such, and the PS5 it being like a router or things like that. I mean, Xbox just has major issues with naming their product. They're all over the place. I mean, I like the look of the Series X. I think it's a nice looking system, even though it is like a big domino essentially.
Exactly. and I understand it's going for like that mini kind of tower look, but then you just look at the Switch OLED if you see it's so beautiful.
It is.
It's like I don't know. It's just like sometimes Nintendo get design right, and everybody else is just like, oh, that's it. It amazes me. Custom designs that people think of a system is going to be are sometimes better than the actual product that comes out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Though I think it's fair to share that Nintendo has had their fair share of some misses. I think the original DS. I mean, looking back at it, that was pretty awful looking. But they did the right thing by coming out with the DS Lite, which is one of my favorite designs for a Nintendo handheld. That thing was so nice and compact. It felt like it was like a real piece of hardware. It was really nice.
Yes. Well, we're going to get into our last story. Ubisoft is making a film about a female video game reviewer who's unlucky in love. Ubisoft's film and television department has just announced a deal with their 2020 film and television fellow recipient, sorry, uh, Annabelle Seymour, to secure a script for a feature film called Replay. In the film, a video game reviewer who has yet to be cast is given the opportunity to live out her dating life as it were a video game. They don't say which video game, though, so we're hoping it's more visual novel and less, Dark Souls. Although we certainly have some Dark Soulsy dates in our time, like the one where the woman on the other side of the restaurant table was a pile of bones and hair, Gravelord Needle style. um, there's not a great deal more information than what we've already told you. This is a pitch in its early days, after all, but we're sure we'll hear more about it in the months to come. Now, Jack, as a married man, you being romantic, you being loving, the grandparents got the kids, and you want to take your wife out. Would you go see this movie if it's like a rom-com?
It would take a lot of convincing. As much as I love video games, that's as much as my wife has zero interest in them. Like, and it's unfortunate, like, I wish I was able to share, my experiences with them. But hey, I understand there's plenty of things that she enjoys that I don't. And it's that's a healthy to, just know what we enjoy and know what we don't. But I'd be more shocked if she saw it and said, "Oh, I want to see this because of those features." Like there's the new it's a movie on HBO. It's 8-Bit Christmas, I think, or something along those lines. My wife loves Christmas. It's like she's the queen of Christmas, gets everything. She knocks it out of the park every single year. And that's something where it's like, oh, okay, that's an avenue I could, get her to enjoy something with video games. And we still haven't watched it, but, I think it's going to be viewed over the next few days. So, but no, I don't think I'd be able to talk my wife into seeing a rom-com with a with a video game reviewer. I don't know if that would be in the cards.
I would just I wouldn't go see this. I would just be like, you know what, just if it came out as a rental, like on PlayStation or Xbox, maybe probably Xbox, because I don't know what's PlayStation's deal going on with movies. But I would, if it was something that's coming on the Xbox, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to review this. I'm gonna do a recap episode. I'm gonna write about it. Or I'm gonna do live commentary on my Twitter. I would go and watch this. But this sounds like a terrible idea because it's just like, why would you want your love life to be a video game? Like, there's no go play Later Daters or something like that. Yeah. Like, you can't turn a love life, and I understand what they're trying to go for, but I'm like, really, Ubisoft, definitely with the current history and things that's going on at your company, I don't think this is a good idea. I would rather them try to even do an animated Rayman movie.
That would be nice.
Yeah, like I would, or even work with Nintendo and do Rayman and Mario Rabbids kind of crossover. A little short or something for the Mario movie. Like, I could see all of this stuff happening. They have different avenues. I just don't see a romantic comedy or whatever Replay is going to be. I'm like, Replay? I'm like, that's something that they got to play again over and over. So they're going to groundhog this, this thing. I'm like, I just don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't go see this. I will rent it like on my console and watch it. And then I'll let people know if they want to, if they should go see it or not. But yeah, I just can't.
No, yeah, I'm with you there. No interest there. It's another thing of Ubisoft that they have a lot of misses in my book. You mentioned Mario and Rabbids. That's one of the few that I do enjoy by them. But everything else that they do, I haven't really found too much of an interest.
Yes. So we're going to move on to our next topic. There's been a ton of games announced for Nintendo Switch, and kind of just for like a lot of consoles. But Jack, I want to ask you, Was there an announcement that like really grabbed your attention, and then when you got the game, it just blew you away?
Meaning for this past year?
Yeah, for
This
2021
this past year, for Nintendo, let's see.
or any
Oh,
console.
for any console, I would say my favorite game that I was most pleasantly surprised was Kenna, Bridge of Spirits.
Yeah.
From the first time seeing the trailers, it really blew me away by how amazing it looked. And then being able to play it and seeing how much bigger of a game than it was than I was anticipating, really satisfied because I was, it's the company's first game, and I'm drawing a blank on the company that made it. But the hit such a, hit so many marks properly the first time really stood out for me, and it was something that I was looking forward to. And then, of course, it was delayed a couple of times, so you start worrying, oh, geez, is this going to be a pile of trash by the time that we get it or not? And once it launched, it was very good.
So it's Ember Lab.
Oh, thank you. Yes, yes. I finished it a few months ago, so I stopped seeing their logo load up on the TV. So, yeah, but yeah, and they made the Majora's Mask mini video, and it looked
Oh,
incredible. Yeah, it was so good. And everybody had such high hopes, and it was right before E3 that year that it came out. So of course all the speculation was going around. Oh, look what we're going to get, and unfortunately it's just another thing for Zelda fans to be.
so Kenna Bridges the Spears.
Yes, yeah, that would be my the game that I was looking forward to, and it actually met expectations. At the top of the list, I might be able to think of another one, but how about you?
For me, it really, I gotta say, it was literally Metroid Prime. I'm not Metroid Prime,
Uh,
Metroid Dread. Like looking at it, and I was just like, and there was so much that I missed when I actually got the game. I was just like, was this in the trailer? And I've been had talking to my friend about it. Like even after watching it at the E3, we were just literally discussing all these theories and stuff that could happen. Like I just couldn't stop talking about Metroid Dread, and so sorry about that. When the trailers and stuff was coming out, and everybody said they was looking at it and playing some of the old games, I just like I can't watch anything. I gotta keep everything like fresh in perspective. And then I played it and it was just like, Mercury Steam, what are you doing? This is phenomenal. This is fantastic. And it just blew me away that they can make a Metroid game like they have kind of recovered from that Castlevania Lords of Shadow game that they
that was
did.
awful. I'm
Yeah,
I'm a big Castlevania fan, and that was a big letdown. So,
yeah,
uh,
it really felt like this is their original. They Sakamoto came. He had his vision, and Mercury Steam brought it to life along with Nintendo. So it feels like they
yeah.
both worked together, came with ideas, fixed the gameplay, really put a story in that is, for the first time, kind of a bit better than Super Metroid. Like we got to understand Samus, we got to
Yep.
understand a little bit of the Chozo, and that final boss fight.
Oh my God. Oh, it was
It
incredible.
kicked my tail.
Oh
But
yeah.
but even the cinematics, just with Samus looking at Craig and everything, it's just like, look, punk, we're not about to do this. You about to respect me, and just getting into that fight. It blew my mind that something like this could happen. Um, Kenna Bridges Spears. Funny thing about Kenna. So I had tried to pre-order the digital version of it, the deluxe version on PS4,
Okay.
and PSN was having some issues and stuff. And I got to a point where I was able to put in my credit card, pay for it, but it looked like my payment didn't go through. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait for the physical version because it looks like nothing's going through. I'm gonna cut it off and everything. So I don't play my PlayStation for a while. Kenna comes out, and I wish everybody who's playing it, like, have a good time. I'm playing this and everything. And I just happened to cut my PlayStation on to be like, okay, I gotta get some stuff ready, do some updates and see. And plus I had brought some games for it. Cut it on, and Kenna Rich Experience is on there. And I'm like, wait a minute. Did it go through? I'm like, did I get it? I probably did get charged, but I didn't know if anything went through. PSN was acting up that day. And so I actually have Kenna Bridge Spirits on my PS4. I now just need to play it. Now I got the deluxe digital version, so
Okay.
when I do get a PS5, it carries over. I'll have
Nice.
the PS5 edition.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice. Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what you have to say because yeah, it's a very very enjoyable game. It's very cool.
It's
I would love to hear what your thoughts are about the last boss of it, especially since you just brought up the final boss in Metroid Prime or Metroid Dread. Because I think it's funny because I've seen so much negativity about Kenna's final boss, about it being so difficult and that there weren't any checkpoints. But in the same light, everybody praised Metroid's final boss and of how punishing it was and how rewarding it was once you actually learned it. So I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say once you get to play Kenna.
I think it's my assumption is that it's probably one of those games because there was the one Sony game where you was like a whole bunch of blocks and you can't Matt. Yeah. Nat. That's it. Yeah. And it was a family friendly game, or it was a platformer, but it was a frustrating with some of the boss fights and everything, because it was just like it looks like you're taking more hits off of him, but if he hits you, more damage is coming off. Like if your 3 or 4 hits equate to his one hit or her one hit. So I wonder if that's the frustration that people are having, and because that was kind of the frustration people have with Quantum Break. They was just like, it's a great game till you get to the last boss, and then it's frustrating in a way. And when it literally comes to Remedy games, I have a problem with their final bosses. I play Alan Wake, and it's frustrating at the end. And I guess that happens with a lot of games. BioShock Infinite that did. When you get to the last kind of the last portion, and they throw all of this stuff at you, and the difficulty ramps up. So I feel like I'm not going to have a problem with it. I think I've experienced boss games like that in a Sony developed, a Sony platform game, like even with Jack and Daxter and Spyro the Dragon and Crash, like a lot of their own platforming games, they have it. Even Horizon Zero Dawn had this, where it's just like the last boss is difficult because it's long and your hits are not doing that much damage and stuff.
Yeah.
Insomniac was very bad at that, because Ratchet and Clank final bosses takes forever, and it's just
they can.
Oh. So I think I'm gonna go in and just be like, once I recognize the patterns and what to do, I'll be able to go in and play. And I don't think it's weird if people are complaining about it. And my thing is this: there's 3 levels of complaints when it comes to a boss fight. There is the Ghouls and Ghosts boss fight complaint. There's the Mario Brothers kind of complaint, or Contra, I should say. And then there's like the Dark Souls complaint, in a sense, where the Dark Souls one is just like, you just got to get your souls, get the right weapon, find a pattern, and deal with the camera at the time. The Mario one is that people are trying to figure out what it is, and once they figure out, how to defeat a boss or something, they be like, oh, okay, I got it. Yeah. And then Ghouls and Ghosts is just like, oh, we're just going to throw everything at you, and if you don't use the mechanics that we gave to you, you're going to die, and we love to see you die. Guess what? Your continue is going to put you way at the beginning of the game or way at the back of the level, so you got to do all of this mess all over again.
Yeah, I'm glad that my time of punishing myself has for the most part, come to an end. I used to be all about, getting into games like that, but man, there's not enough time in the world to have me do that anymore. I put in my frustration. Now it's just like, all right, if I get an hour or two to put it in, I don't want to have to replay everything that I just did. So I'm definitely a big fan of the fact that there's those quick access points that pop up.
And I know that the talk of putting games on easy has come up.
Yeah.
And if you are if you are a person who just wants to get through the game and just be able to talk about it, you can put it on easy. And I think if you're going to do that, it's going to make kind of not spoiler cast, but it's going to kind of make the conversation difficult, because if someone has played it on a harder difficulty than you're going to say to them that, well, I found the boss easy, and everybody's going to look crazy at you because they'll be like, easy? I had this coming. I'm like, how did you dodge that? Then they'll figure out that if they don't know that you played a game on easy, they're going to be like, oh, you got to play it on normal or something. You got to get the real challenge. But no, I think some people who want to play games on easy should be able to play games on easy.
Oh, yeah. There should be it's fine to have a level for everybody to be able to play it.
Yes.
It doesn't diminish anything from anybody else's experience. Set it at whatever you want to do. And I'm happy that more and more developers are having a difficulty level be able to be adjusted throughout gameplay instead of just at the beginning and not be able to change it. So that definitely helps, save some of that frustration that I was mentioning.
Yeah, I think people got to realize that when you are playing a game, they encourage you to spend time with it, to learn combos or learn techniques and special skills, so that when you do get to a challenging final boss, by the time you get there, you know the tools to use and everything. Mm-hmm. You just can't rely on a small set of skills. You got to really use everything that the game has taught you and everything.
Agreed.
So, but we're going to get into our last topic of the show. And we're going to be talking about how Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo kind of did for 2021 for the gaming community. I'm going to ask you, Jack, let's start with Sony. Okay. How did you think they did this year?
I think that they're still, they're obviously still struggling to meet the demand of the PS5. Though they've somehow sold over 10 million units, which it seems crazy that, that you can't even go into any store and ever see one. So I've been somewhat happy with the releases that have come out, but I still think it's missing, something big. Ratchet & Clank was a great release for them, but it's not exactly enough to say, hey, look at what the PS5 is capable of. It more or less feels like it's just saying, hey, here are these remasters of the PS4. Kind of similar to what the Switch has done with the Switch and the Wii U.
Yes.
Basically every great Wii U game that came out is also on the Switch for the most part. And it's kind of feeling like that's how it's being with the PS5. I'd be really interested to see if these rumors are true, with the what is the code name for their apparent answer to Game Pass?
Spartacus.
Yes, Spartacus. Be interested to see if that's true and what it has to offer, because if it really goes back into, especially even like PS3, which has kind of been locked away in that generation. Mm-hmm. If they can be a part of it, I'd be really interested to see how that goes for the future. But overall, I'm kind of I've been happy with the PS5, very, very happy with it, but it still seems like it is a system that came out without any games, and it's over a year into it. Other than, Kenna was my big surprise, and Ratchet & Clank was a good one, but all the other games I've been playing are also on PS4. So
yeah. For me, for Sony, just being on the outside looking in, them allowing people now to actually put in more for their SSD, that information. Them in September selling a lot of systems. Still, kind of got the games that people want to play, like with Ratchet and Clank, Miles Morales, Returnal, and everything.
Yeah, I forgot about Returnal. I haven't played Returnal yet. It looks good, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
It still boggles my mind that people, yeah, I beat Returnal. I have fun. I'm like, okay, can you beat Contra without the 30-man code? No, Contra is too hard. It's just like, wait, huh? I think Sony did a good enough job to make 2021 good for PlayStation owners who actually have the system. Because even though they may have sold 10 million, you don't have 10 million customers.
Yeah, exactly. That seems like more the retail stores need to do a better job of, mitigating how people actually get access to the Sony console.
Well, it's literally been where like Best Buy, I love what they do. They're just like, you only could get it within, you gotta come in to pick up your system. And if they see that you got multiple ones, they'll be like, no, we know what you're doing, we're gonna cancel everything because you only can get one, and you got to present your ID and actually be the real person that's coming to get it. So I kind of like what they're doing. I still kind of trying to figure out why scalpers still need PlayStation 5s to sell to people, where gamers are just like, there's not really much out there for me to play. And I'd rather just wait, because I can play games on my Switch, I can play games on my PC through Game Pass or Series X. And with Series S, we're going to get into Xbox a little bit later, coming more available, it's going to seem that's going to hurt PlayStation 5. And now that's going to hurt scalpers, because they're going to be like, well, we could go somewhere else and play games. And if I still got my PS4, I could play that older version of that game. It's about the experience, not worry about the graphics or the loading and stuff. If I could get that same experience, that's what I'm going to go where and play. Because I'm going to play Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation 4. Yeah, there may be some load time problems. That's fine with me. It's just going to be the experience that I want. I want to go see what the story. I want to see the side quests. I want to be able to play the game and talk it to the Crossroad teams or the whole Boss Rush team who's ever playing it. I'd rather do that, and I think a lot of gamers are talking about that, are doing things. As crazy as it seems, like how do anything PlayStation related become Game of the Year nomination? Well, not nomination, win Game of the Year. Because right now, you only got kind of like two choices.
Yeah.
You only got Returnal, and you really only got Ratchet and Clank. Now, yes, there are two first party games, but what else did Sony do for people to really say that this is the game to play on? You can play Resident Evil 5 on PC or Xbox. I mean, Resident Evil 8. I'm sorry, Village. You can play. You can play that. Yes, you can play that on somewhere else. Microsoft released more first party games than Sony this year. Do you really want to give it to Ghost of Tsushima the definitive cut? Do you really want to give it to the Kojima game?
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. When and Death Stranding is another weird one, because people denied Death Stranding when it came out. They didn't know what it was, but then got mad when it went to PC, and then the definitive version came out. Who brought it and talked about it? I don't know who.
Yeah, it's one I didn't pick up either. That right. And I like Kojima's games, or at least the Metal Gear games, but that was one that there was enough negative talk around it that it kind of, it talked me out of picking that game up. It looked a little bit maybe too weird even for me.
Yeah, and for me, I picked the game up because it was only $20 at a store. So I was just like, okay, I'll just get this old version to play. I haven't installed, I just haven't started it yet. But I think Sony is trying to work on getting getting more product out there. I think they're going to be working on getting more games out there. They've been buying up a lot of studios, and like, they bought Evo this year and everything. So I think the stuff that they purchased, there's going to have a good financial backing with them. But they got to do something. And I think what they did this year for 2021 was good enough for them. But they got to push the envelope. You got to really make why PS5 needs to be purchased. Because right now, people who do get a PS5, they're lucky they were able to get one.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, like I said, we're going to get into Microsoft, but Nintendo is killing it. Nintendo kind of killed it 2021. We're going to end with them. But let's move on to Microsoft.
Okay.
How you think they did this year?
I'll say I only have owned the original Xbox. So I didn't have a 360 or an Xbox One, but hearing all of the things that they've done with, say, Game Pass, having day one releases with Game Pass, and then also with acquiring Bethesda and all of the things that, what am I trying to say here? Skyrim, the sequel to Skyrim. That game. Elder Scrolls. I was struggling with the word Elder. Elder Scrolls 6. Whenever that comes out. I have no idea what Starfield is, other than it's just a different setting for that style of play. But I love those types of RPGs. So I can say that I'm intrigued for Xbox for the first time since the original Xbox. So I think that that's saying a lot for somebody who has had zero interest. And the only reason I had any interest in the original Xbox was for the reboot of Ninja Gaiden. And I love that game, and that's why I picked up an Xbox at that time. So now that Xbox has multiple games that I can't get anywhere else, I'm starting to be interested. So I think that they're doing a lot of things right for the first time in a while, according to somebody that wasn't interested in it. So I can't say enough praise for that. I think that speaks volumes that they're dipping into other markets that they didn't have yet.
Yes. For me, Microsoft, they really did a fantastic job this year. They were quiet in the beginning. We know the Medium dropped this year for them, and that came and went. People played it on PC and whatever. But their E3, they knocked it out at E3.
Yeah.
Like, it was I literally could say that Nintendo and Microsoft truly deliver at E3. But man, I was watching E3 with Jesse, and we were just looking at all the games and the announcements and seeing Forza Horizon 5, seeing, the Ascent, seeing like Redfall and all of the stuff that's coming to Xbox, and that's actually not on Xbox. I was just like, Microsoft brought not only a presentation, they brought the games. And then you got Psychonauts 2, which was a decent, good, fun game everybody enjoyed. But Forza Horizon 5 looks beautiful on Series X. It runs buttery smooth. And Halo Infinite is phenomenal. And the reason why I paused about it is because I know I'm still playing it. A lot of other people are still playing it. Some people are just still, beating it. I love the grappling in it. Is everybody call it? No, that's the gunk. The gunk is like the game that they call it. This is the horror version of Luigi's Mansion. It's kind of funny. But I'm loving Halo Infinite because I love the grappling. Like, just it makes me think of Just Cause 3 with the grappling. Traversing. Yes, the driving stills feel like a garbage can full of rocks, and they need to get that fixed. Stuff. But that's my gripe with it. But Halo Infinite, that delay. And they're taking their time to get the quality to where it really needs to be at, and where it's at when the game release was really well deserved. And then just having Series S, I seen some in Target, and I'm like, the next gen is here.
Yeah.
now because it's in retail stores where people could go in and buy it. It's just not buying games and accessories. And in all honesty, you're still paying $10 cheaper than Sony.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could get Horizon for Horizon Zero, not Zero, Forza Horizon 5 for $60. Put it in my Series X and get that version. Get the Series X version. You know, I'm loving that. Now, I just started Game Pass, like a 5 month trial. I'm not keeping it or anything. I'm just trying it because I got it for free for renewing my subscription with Xbox Go, and it says that I've been with them for 5 years. I'm like,
Oh,
really? Y'all
wow.
work me? I'm like, that's cool. And so I I'm seeing what it's all about, and it's just it's another game service.
Yeah.
Like I went into Game Pass and I went to go look at some stuff, and it's like, oh, this is basic as ever.
Oh, is
Like,
it?
yeah, it's just like it, they need to fix their UI, and they still
Oh,
are having issues with their because they're still having issues where games won't load. It's still slow and everything, and it's just like, why am I still dealing with these issues and everything? Um, but overall, I think Microsoft did a fantastic job. You know, IGN gave Forza Horizon 5 Game of the Year. It's
yeah.
well deserved. Now, personally, for me with Forza, I don't like the soundtrack, but I do love the driving and the fixes and going to where I've been finding different music that I kind of enjoy, but I think Forza Horizon 4 has spoiled me because I love that soundtrack. I love hearing that music, and it will help me find new artists and everything. But that's a personal complaint. But
Yeah.
this year, I feel like Microsoft really delivered. Their controllers are great. They got some great sales on the accessories. Their headset that they released, like the $100 one, phenomenal, worth the buy. If anyone could get, if you get it on sale, it's worth it. It's worth it. Um, I think they've been pushing, and I understand them buying a lot of developers and everything, but they want to be able to have a good library for
Mm-hmm.
their for it because that's the one thing that Microsoft actually struggles with is that their first party, as good as it is, they is still limited. If
Yeah.
you don't talk about Forza, if you don't talk about Halo, and you don't talk about Gears, what are you talking about on the Xbox for first party? Not
Yeah.
much, you know.
Yeah. Not until Bethesda starts throwing their weight around, you
Well,
know.
like even with Bethesda, Doom 2 came out and like
Yep.
they didn't nobody talk about it because it was just like it got well, that was last year. I mean, it
Yeah.
got defeated by Animal Crossing.
Well,
And
yeah. The timeliness of that is,
yeah,
is what really impacted that. I mean, it was a good game from what I played. It was like one of those games where it just fell off, and that says a lot about about a game. You know, where the Doom 2016, when that came out, that was totally shocked me, and I couldn't put it down. And then it's like it's still good. It's just they did it already again. You know,
yeah.
so it didn't feel as fresh.
Well, we're gonna wrap up with Nintendo.
Hmm.
So, Jack, how was Nintendo for you?
I bought a lot of Nintendo games. You know,
Say-
so like I can't say enough. You know, you already touched on Metroid Dread. Fantastic. I'm a big Metroid fan. So being able to actually play Metroid 5 is fantastic to be able to do so. Other games that they came out, trying to look at which games I actually bought. Skyward Sword HD, that was good. It's not my favorite Zelda game, but I thought that it was having the button controls is much needed. Mario Golf, I thought was very good too. But I wish I played it more. I did play it with two of my buddies. We went away a couple of months ago, and it was one of the games that we all picked up and play. And I wish it was the type of game that I got to play more multiplayer with. And hey, I could use the online, but I just haven't utilized. And then I'm sure there's an other really good game that I'm overlooking. How How about you? What standouts really come out to you?
Oh man. So Chicory, I did play. I did get the Nintendo Expansion Pass. Truly enjoying it. I gotta start Paper Mario. That's one game.
Oh,
But
nice.
then I started playing Gunstar Heroes.
Oh,
I love Treasure so much.
yeah.
Like I was playing a lot of the Sega Genesis games, and it's bad because now I can't go. I want to go to Streets of Rage 2 because that was like one of the first Sega Genesis games that I played just to hear the soundtrack. But then I was just like, man, Streets of Rage 4, that Mr. X Nightmare DLC is so good. Man, like Super Mario 3D World, playing with you and Dad.
Oh, that was fantastic.
That was hilarious.
Oh my god.
Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Stories, Famicom Detective Club. I got both games. I got Neo: The World Ends with You. I got Skyward Sword, Mario Party Superstar, or Super Rush. Got Mario Golf that I need to start. Cruising Blast. Like I pretty much about spend probably like $800 some on Switch games. Like
I'm glad that there's not a feature on your profile that shows how much money you spent, because I would be so mad at myself.
Yes.
You know,
the beautiful Nintendo Switch OLED.
Oh yeah, I know. That was one of the things where I'm like, nope, I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. And then I had an opportunity and I jumped on it, and I was, and I'm not sad about it. And it was great. Like, I showed my brother over Thanksgiving, and like the next week he sends me a message of a picture of him with it. He was at the GameStop doing a system transfer of his old one. So it was like, yeah, when you see it and touch it in real life, you're pretty much sold. Yes. So yeah, I've been a big fan of the OLED.
Phenomenal E3, seeing Breath of the Wild.
Man.
Metroid Breath of the Wild 2 looks amazing.
Yeah. Toon 3's announcement. That looks really good
so
too.
Good.
Yeah.
I just actually picked up Splatoon 2 for Switch over Thanksgiving.
Oh, nice.
Did that Bluetooth feature that everybody laughed at Nintendo about. It is a blessing because I talk about, I got these Sony headphones.
Yep.
And I plan on like watching it and everything and listening to it. And man, I literally now play my Switch with my Bluetooth headset.
Yeah. No, it's a much needed feature. I'm glad it's finally a part of it.
Yes. Nintendo's just dominated. Yes. Like out of the 12 months, they were only on top for 11 of it. That's good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
They've been going strong for 4 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And stuff. So like Nintendo, as host of Nintendo Pow Block, you just seen all the crazy stuff that's going on with it, all the good that's been going on, a lot of the indies, like Death's Door. Man, I talked Jesse's ear off about Death's Door. Like I knew about it when he told me on how good it was. I'm just like, man, I hope it comes to Switch. I can't wait. It came to Switch, and I just like this is a must-have. And I already. One of the guys from IGN, I think, who hosts PlayStation Beyond, he
John Dornbush.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Or Josh Dornbush. He was just, I talked to him about, like, he was playing, and I'm just like, man, I'm like, I hope they do a physical. He was just like, yeah, I think this out. And so he led me to the link that Special Reserve was doing it, and I bought the collection for the physical for Switch.
Oh, nice.
With the quickness, because that's how much I love this game. But yeah, Nintendo killed it this year.
Yeah, I was very happy with this year.
Yeah, and the Zelda controllers, the Pokemon, Pokemon, they did a fantastic job this year. And them teaming up to do esports, so they're having their own Smash and everything. Very good.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that instead of just a negative light around it. It's not necessarily for me, but the fact that they're embracing it is a good thing.
Yes. So everybody, that is going to be it for our mini block. Josh. Sorry about that. Jack, thank you for joining me. You want to go ahead and plug?
Sure. Yeah. As Ed mentioned earlier, I'm a part of the writing team over at bossrush.net. And you can find me on Twitter. I'm at geekbro27. Usually just sharing things with games and such. But yeah, that's me.
Yes, we're part of the Ball Hair Club today,
Oh
everybody.
yeah.
Dude,
Me every day.
dude, I went to go get my haircut Saturday, and I was just like, "Thank you." I love being bald and everything. You guys can find me on Twitter at that retro code. You can check out Nintendo Pow Block on Wednesdays on our YouTube page and on bossrush.net. Follow us on Pow Block Podcast on Twitter. Everybody have a great holiday. Jack, you have a great holiday and a Merry Christmas.
You as well, Ed. Merry Christmas.
Yes, hopefully you get what you asked for. Hopefully the kids love their gifts. I don't know what else to say, but everybody, we're going to see you next year. Last episode, like I said, was our last live episode. This one is recorded because it's our mini block. We're going to take next week off so that you guys can enjoy. But when we come back, we're going to have our Nintendo Pow Block Game of the Year discussion. What will it be? Once again, we don't know. It's going to be very interesting. With that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Nintendo Pow Block. Woohoo!
Thanks for having me, Ed.